all, welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for, and I can't believe I'm saying it, the end of September 2025. I'm host Gary Smith, and on today's show we're going to look back at this past weekend's exciting game at Slippery Rock, and then we'll look at everything going on in the PSAC, and then we'll look ahead to this upcoming week's opponent, the Seton Hill Griffins. And Coach, last week we were kind of talking off camera. You know, you had to make notes for yourself since we shoot on Tuesday, and you're like, by then I'm already looking ahead, but I have a feeling a win like that against a conference opponent on the road is going to stick a little longer than memory.
You would think, but not really, man. We're on to the next. You know, we got, obviously a great win Saturday and told the team to celebrate the win. And then Sunday morning, the coaching staff moved forward, started working on Seton Hill. We had great team meetings yesterday, great workout yesterday. And at the end of the day, our goals were not to beat Slippery Rock. So we really haven't accomplished anything. We're moving on to the next.
This past week, and of course, we talked last week, first road game in almost a calendar year. You guys get up there, and a night game at the Rock is always tough. They don't lose at night, they don't lose at home, and I don't know what you said to the team in the locker room. You guys came out fired up and took momentum right away.
Yeah, I think the guys are ready to play. Our guys understand when you come to California, you're going to play in big games. That's just the nature of it. And I thought that the key to it was I thought we had a great week of preparation. I thought the guys were dialed in. I thought the coaches on both sides of the ball did a great job game planning and getting them prepared. But ultimately, it's the players. And when they put the work in during the week, we give ourselves a better opportunity to have success on Saturday. And I thought we did that. But we came out, They deferred. We kicked off. We unfortunately had a holding call on a big 20-yard game by Jake Lehu, and end up missing a pass and had to punt on the first series. Slippery Rock goes down and scores, so 7-0. But I thought the key to the game was we responded all night long to no matter what happened. We played the next play. And we responded to everything that happened. So to get that second drive, I think we started moving the ball, and to get a touchdown, tie it up 7-7. Okay, let's settle in now. Let's be ready for a 4-quarter battle.
And after that touchdown, I mean, if you went to get something to drink or get a piece of pizza, I mean, you're going to lose or not see 14 amazing points because your defense forces pick six long third down deep in their end. So Keith Charney gets the pick six, and right after there, I mean, it seems like every week we're a broken record, but special teams, and we'll talk more about special teams and how important it was in this game, but your special teams goes down on the kick, forces a fumble, and you guys are back right at the doorstep, right at the edge of the red zone.
Yeah, another key to the game was taking advantage of opportunities. Keith Charney, one, it started with pressure. Ricariel got a lot of pressure and flushed the kid, and he's rolling opposite. He's a left-handed quarterback rolling right, throws it up in the middle of the field. Those are obviously a throw he would like back, but Charney, once he gets the ball in his hands, is dangerous. He returned it for a touchdown, so now we're up 14-7. We kick off, they fumble, and I thought the offense converting there, taking advantage of the opportunity that special teams gave us to get up 21-7, kind of jolted us a little bit.
And you ended up, your offense put up, and your team, not just your offense, because the defense scored their 35 first half points. And Coach, we always talk about, and every coach in the history of the world has talked about balance. And your team balance, if you look at the stats, 237 yards rushing, 233 yards passing. I mean, you can't be more pleased about the ratio.
Yeah, we're always looking for balance, and it's not necessarily yardage-wise. It's taking advantage of what the defense gives you and being able to run the football and throw the football. But I thought our running game was key. I think we dominated the line of scrimmage to rush for 230. Was it 234? 237. That Slippery Rock doesn't happen very often. So to be able to dominate the line of scrimmage and run the football really set everything else up. Bobby Boyd had another good game. Kendrick Aguilar, I think I told you a couple weeks ago, you're going to start seeing him step up a little bit, and then the Roman Purcell being able to also run the football kind of helps us diversify the run game, and it's hard to stop when you've got 2 or 3 guys you've got to stop. But extremely happy with the run game, and we get up 35-14, and then we start making mistakes. So I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Well, before we talk about that, Aguilar 12 carries, 103 yards and a touchdown, and Bobby Boyd Jr. 16 carries, 88 yards and a touchdown. But again, Coach, you just said 35 points, 35-14, but you knew Slippery Rock's not going to go away. They came back, but I tell you what, like a heavyweight title fight, I mean, you absorb the blow, and Slippery Rock ends up going up 38-35, but there was no panic on the sideline. You guys go down and take care of business.
You know, I think we gave them some things. You know, we turned the ball over twice deep in our territory, which we've got to get corrected. We worked on it yesterday. We'll work on it again today. But that's going to happen. That's a game of football. So, you know, we talk to our guys that there's always going to be a point in the game where we call weather in the storm. There's always going to be a point in the game where things aren't going our way. You know, we've got to tighten it up a little tighter. We got to, you know, focus a little harder. We got to give a little, you know, more mental effort, and that's what we talked to the team about. You know, I went over to the defense and said, all right, here's the storm, what are we going to do? You know, and everybody stepped up. So, you know, we take the lead into halftime, 35-28. Felt good about it, you know, felt good about where we were. Talked to the team at halftime about, like, listen, we screwed that up. We should have probably had another score in the first half. So let's get back to doing what we did to build that lead, and let's go play 60 minutes.
In the fourth quarter, you guys, your team was down 38-35, and then Harry Radcliffe hits a field goal to tie it up. And then, again, special teams, huge thing. Slippery Rock goes down. They're at the doorstop. Your defense holds, you know, and I think we've talked about it before, a couple big goal line stands for your team so far, but none bigger than this, because ends up Slippery Rock misses the field goal, and then, you know, your offense just grinds out a 5-minute drive to put the game away.
You know, I thought obviously the goal line stand was huge. You know, they ended up, you know, getting down there. I think it was first and goal and ran a play, and then second and goal we tackled them for a loss. So we got them the third and 6 from the 6, third and goal from the 6. Threw a little slot fade that, you know, kid had a chance to catch, you know, and didn't. But you flip it over to the field goal. They're a very unorthodox field goal team. And we had worked something all week, and I'll give my defensive coaches, especially Coach Papley, credit on this. He's doing a really good job on our field goal block. You know, I think we're leading the country in block kicks right now, or at least we were going into that game. They adjusted because Slippery Rock's very unorthodox in what they do. So we said, you know what, we're going to adjust, and we're going to have Keith Charney jump the line. So Keith Charney, the one before that, almost blocked it. So we said, all right, now they adjusted to move him out a little bit over the tackle and jump. And that's why the kid missed the kick, because Charney was there. If he puts the kick straight, Charney probably blocks it for what I would imagine would be a big play and maybe a block 6. And we teach our guys on that unit that it's not necessarily blocking the kick. It's putting pressure on a kicker to force him to make a miss, which is a huge play in that game. And no one really knows it, right? Because he didn't block the kick. Everyone says, well, he just missed the field goal. Well, he missed the field goal because Keith Charney jumped the line of scrimmage. It was right there. So that was huge. And then, you know, the offense, we got rolling a little bit in the run game. We hit a big ball to Diabe Johnson, who I thought played his best game this year. Team captain, really doing a good job of stepping up and being a leader for us. And then that, you know, once we got it out to the 50, it was the Kendrick Aguilar and the offensive line show. You know, I thought we were at the end of the game. I thought we were more physical. I thought we were the dominant team at the end of the game to just run the ball. We ended up getting a personal foul call. Everybody out there in Cal U TV land can watch that film, and if they can find it, I'd love to see it. But really proud of the offense for overcoming that. You know, when you get a first down and they throw a flag and it's a 15-yard penalty, you know, okay, now what? So they backed us up to the 40. I think we were at the 30-yard line, but they backed us up to the 40, and we just ran it 3 or 4 more straight times. I think we threw one little hitch outside, and then, you know, Kendrick with the big run, but man, did the O-line dominate the line of scrimmage in that last drive. I mean, Kendrick was chunk running them. I mean, it was 10 yards before he was touched, and the wide receivers did a good job of blocking. So the execution was there. We've got to get better. You know, there's still some things in that game that, you know, if we don't make the mistakes that we make, I think, you know, I don't think the game's in question. So got to get back to work. Thought we had a good workout last week or last night, and, you know, we've got to put great preparation together for this week. And
after the win on Monday, yesterday, before shooting the show, you know, the PSAC honored 2 of your players for Athletes of the Week, Offensive Athlete of the Week, Diabe Johnson, 6 receptions, 134 yards, and a TD, and like you said, maybe his best game in a Cal uniform. And some of those catches weren't easy. He's going up. It's not, you know, he's going up over 2 or 3 guys with just that wingspan he has. I mean, it was a heck of a performance.
Was impressive to go up and get it. And, you know, obviously had the big touchdown catch, but had some other huge third down catches. The first touchdown drive, he had a huge catch to convert on a third down. Another drive, he had a big third down conversion. I thought he was really good, and we need him to be really good for us. But I still think you're going to start seeing some other receivers start to pop. Lloyd Penn had a touchdown. Jeff had a couple catches. I think Amir Spencer's going to come along. I think Kenny Lewis is coming along. So I like the depth we have at wide receiver, and I think you'll start seeing some of those guys starting to flash a little bit. And
your special teams was honored with punter Andrew Gonzalez. He had 3 punts, 42.7 average, and flipped the field in a couple key situations.
Yeah. He's doing a really good job. Andrews is really smart. He's a great athlete. He was a high school baseball player, doing a really good job. And obviously Day being Offensive Player of the Week, but they'll be the first ones to tell you their teammates had a lot to do with that.
Well, let's take a look back at the highlights from an exciting afternoon, early evening, and into the early morning at Slippery Rock, PA for the big win for California. And then after the break, we'll break down everything in the conference and look ahead to this upcoming week's opponent. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Roman Purcell looks to throw, firing, it's caught inside the 20, 10, 5, touchdown! Takes the handoff, looking to throw, spinning freeze, very mobile, heaves it downfield, and picked off! Taken back to the 30, to the 20, across the field, Keith Charney will take this one inside the 5, and it's a pick 6, touchdown Cal. Downfield, it's taken across the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, out to the 31-yard line, football came out, and it looks like Cal has it. Purcell, quarterback draw, straight up the middle, and he's in, touchdown! Roman Purcell takes the snap, looking to throw, firing, end zone, caught! Touchdown! Deave Johnson will now give it up the middle and in for the touchdown, Bobby Boyd Jr. Snap is back, ball is down, kick is up, and the kick is good. Snap back, ball down, kick up, and the kick is no good. Purcell will give, run play, down towards the goal line and in. Touchdown, Kendrick Aguilar.
Fall is back and so is Vulcan football. Follow the Vulcans every step of the way during the 2025 regular season. The season kicks off with a Thursday night clash versus Charleston. Then home September 13th versus Westchester. Home September 26th versus Lock Haven. September 27th at Slippery Rock. October 4th at home versus Seton Hill. October 11th at Edinboro. Homecoming October 18th versus Clarion. At IUP October 25th. Home versus Frostburg State on November 1st. At Gannon November 8th. And the season finale at Shippensburg November 15th. Follow Cal Vulcans and CUTV for live links, highlights, and much more.
Kalechi now in motion across the formation. Handoff to Boyd. Boyd up the middle, untouched for the Vulcan touchdown. California strike first. The 2-yard rush by Boyd. Has some time stepping up now, airing it deep down the far side. Pass is intercepted by the Griffins. Cruz looking to his right, has a man in the back of the end zone. That pass, easy as you'd like, a touchdown that time. Todd Phillips pulls in the reception. Black takes the snap, has some time. Black needs to get rid of it here. 5 seconds, Black has a man in the pass, is caught for the touchdown. Eric Willis. Cruz hands it off again. Williams breaks the tackle, and that's Crackett into the end zone for the Griffin touchdown. Black hit as he's thrown, but he's airing it deep down the field. Has a man pulled in by Willis, and Willis is off to the races, and Willis will make his way into the end zone for the Vulcan touchdown. Who needs long drives? One play is all it takes, and Eric Willis III goes 75 yards for the Vulcan touchdown. Quickly to the line, Cruz, handoff to Craigett again, and Craigett spins into the end zone for the Griffin touchdown. Boyd able to break free, and Boyd bouncing it to the outside, and Bobby Boyd into the end zone for the Vulcan touchdown. Unfiltered, untouched, 23 yards into the end zone for the Vulcan touchdown.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. Coach, we just saw highlights from last year's game against Seton Hill, but before we break into Seton Hill, give you a few more minutes to think about what you've seen on tape. We'll break down and look at everything that happened in the PSAC this past weekend. The first weekend of divisional play in the PSAC. Seeing the scoreboard, California 45, Slippery Rock 38. Over in the East, Westchester over Millersville 38-7. East Stroudsburg gets by Lock Haven 24-21. Kutztown over Shepherd 49-10. IUP over Seton Hill 40-13. Edinburgh with a second half comeback over Clarion, winning 21-20. And then Shippensburg in a rainstorm beating Bloomsburg 10-7. And then on the screen, we'll take a look at the PSAC divisional standings, since finally we have some 1s and O's and O's and 1s in the West. We have 1-0-0 in the conference, and then flipping forward to the national poll, Coach, your team moves up another 2 spots to 6 in the country, and several teams, if you look at the poll from the region, so just a testament to how strong the region is, but can't really get too focused on anything like that because, as you said before, Groundhog Day, we move back on. There's no rest for the weary. I mean, your crew, you and your staff are in Sunday morning looking at this upcoming week's opponent, the Seton Hill Griffins, and they're coming into this game 2-3, 0-1. And what have you seen on film so far? Well, first, we'll start with their offense. Yeah,
offensively, they're playing 2 separate quarterbacks, but I think it all starts with their tailback. They got one of the premier tailbacks in the league that is really good. He can hit home runs. He runs with power. He's a physical guy. It all starts with them up there. Once they get the running game going, then they've got some nice skill kids, but it's going to start with the running game. That's what their coaching staff believes, and he's as good as anybody in the league. So we're going to have to tackle better than we did Saturday. If you look back at one of the things that we as a coaching staff, thought on defense, we didn't tackle very well Saturday. Now, Slippery Rock had something to do with that. They've got nice skill players, but everybody in our league has nice skill players. And then offensively, it was the turnovers. We can't turn the ball over 3 times and think we're going to win a lot of football games. But it's all going to start with tackling with us. We've got to get that guy on the ground. He's going to get his yards. He's a physical, as good as anybody in the league. And probably, returning first-team all-league guy. That's going to be a key for us. Is we've got to find a way to limit him and get him on the ground, and then good things will happen for us.
And that's Kyron Craigett, 89 carries this year, 362 yards and 3 touchdowns. And you said, Coach, they play a couple of quarterbacks, but the one that's really been doing the damage in the air is Baden St. Marie, 47 of 82, 654 and 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So, like you said, that's a lot of firepower on offense to control.
Absolutely. They're doing a nice job. I think like I said, it starts with the running game, but they've got some nice skill kids. We're going to have to play good assignment football on defense. I think our communication is getting better, but it needs to increase and continue. And when we do get into passing situations, we got to put pressure on the quarterback. I think that's where we're at our best, is when we're getting pressure on the quarterback. I don't know that we did that, early Saturday, but that's what we're going to have to do.
And on the other side of the ball, what do they do that are going to try and stop the Vulcan attack?
Yeah, I'll tell you, every year this is a different week. They run a different defensive scheme than anybody in the country. Their whole deal is they're going to outnumber you in the box. They're going to stop the running game. They're going to get you into passing situations and then bring exotic blitzes with exotic coverages behind it. They're mostly a cover one team, but once they get you into third down, they're going to have a different coverage package. They really try and create chaos on defense by the way they line up and the way they move around and some of the twists and just everything they do. It's designed to be a big play defense. It's designed to stop the run and then pressure your quarterback and get big plays. We've got to play assignment football. We've got to put hats on hats. We've got to take the right steps. We've got to, do all the right things fundamentally sound to have success against this defense. It's different than any defense we see. You'll never see a defense like this outside of Seton Hill. Their head coach was their defensive coordinator last year. He got promoted to head coach this year. He's still running the defense, and they're as good as anybody in the league at what they do.
And, Coach, we always talk once we get in divisional play, it's a great league because, you're not with more than 2.5 hours from any team. Seton Hill's 45 minutes away, so obviously you guys are going head-to-head recruiting. The players have played against each other in high school, in college a couple years. So what's it like going up against that close of a regional rivalry?
Yeah, it's so interesting, and I know we talk about it every year, and I'm a broken record. I say it every year, right? Like West Virginia's in the Big 12, and now I think Penn State plays UCLA in the Rose Bowl. I just don't think that's great for college football. I love the fact that the PSAC, our alumni know their alumni, and our players know their players, and it's good. And you've got to adjust year to year. I think that. I think our coaching staff spends a crazy amount of time in the offseason talking football and all spring and all summer and making adjustments to be better, right? To never staying complacent. So I think we're a little bit different offensively this year than we've been in years past. I think defensively we put some nice things in that have complemented, but the bases and the foundations are there, the principles are there, and so we know them, they know us. We've played every year since they've been in the league. Funny, me and Coach Salisbury were talking about just Seton Hill always plays us tough, no matter where it's at. We were talking about the 2017 game here where Michael Keir had to score late to win the game. We go up there last year, and with a minute to play in the game, it's tied. They're going to come down here and play their best football game. We've got to do the same. But it was funny, Coach Salisbury said, I think we're the only two still left in the league from 2016. So it's, but it's good, and we're excited to play.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the overall record, of course, California has an overwhelming record, but if you look into those numbers, I mean, there hasn't been a comfortable game for a couple of years. I mean, It has been, in last year's game we were there, and it took, again, another clutch drive by your offense to get the win on the road.
Almost very similar to the drive we just had against Slippery Rock. We got the ball backed up, five minutes and change to go, and it drove down the field, and Bobby spit a run. Very similar to what just happened last weekend. We talked to our guys about it. Like, if we don't put last week behind us, then it'll get us. Like, so what, now what? That wasn't our goal to beat Slippery Rock. So let's focus on us and understand we've got a really good football team coming in here that loves playing us.
Well, Coach, I'll give you a few seconds to memorize your pitch to Vulcan Nation while I look at the schedule in the PSAC this week. Again, second week of divisional play, several games at noon. Seton Hill, California, right at the top of everybody's watch list if you're watching this, so make sure you come on out. Shippensburg at Kutztown and Slippery Rock at Gannon. Those are the noon kickoffs. And then at 2 o'clock, Shepherd at Millersville, East Stroudsburg at Westchester, Edinburgh at IUP, and then Lock Haven at Bloomsburg. So every game will be pretty much playing at the same time with the noon kick and a 2 o'clock kick.
I guess because we're getting October, everyone's kind of getting away from the night games now. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's it's going to be a great week for the PSAC. There's some matchups there that I'd like to watch. That East Stroudsburg, Westchester game, I'd like to see that. Obviously, IUP Edinburgh is a big rivalry. Edinburgh got them last year. I'm sure IUP's ready to avenge that one. And IUP's playing really good football right now. I think Westchester's playing really good football right now. So it's going to be interesting to see.
But that doesn't matter. None of that matters to the fans. You can watch the replays, all those games on the PSAC network. Come on out Saturday at noon. Coach and I are discussing, let's get those tailgates started earlier. I'd like to get a hot dog or something coming in whenever I get to the stadium at 8:30. Coach, I know you're there before me, so probably get him like a coffee, maybe a breakfast croissant or something.
Sandwich, something like that would be nice.
But again, come on out because, don't know how much that support means to the players
and
coaches and everything.
I tell you what, it's been great, and it's great to be back at home.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. No, it's a fun group to watch. We've won 3 one-score games out of 4 games. So, I can tell you that they're going to play hard and they're going to play with energy. They're going to play with passion and I think it's $10 to get in. That's pretty reasonable for a
best deal in the country
for an afternoon. Tailgating and no, but come up and watch this group. I'd love to see our students up there. I know our alumni will be here. That's one thing I got to say, man. What a great turnout by Cal this weekend at Slippery Rock. Our band came huge when they travel on the road with us. Our cheerleaders came. The energy and the passion that those 2 groups bring to our guys. Is huge. So, we thanked them yesterday. And then our alumni turnout. I saw more of my former teammates and Cal alumni up there. Just a great night for Vulcan football to go in there. And I think they had a 38-game night game streak or whatever it was to have our fans, our alumni, our cheerleaders, our band there to push us forward. And that deal was huge. So come up to Adamson Stadium, 12 o'clock, get there early, tailgate, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, sleep over if you need to. But let's get to Adamson Stadium and cheer this bunch on.
And as we shoot the show on Tuesday, the weather looks absolutely beautiful for the next week. So another beautiful fall afternoon. Can't believe it's already October, starting on Wednesday. But if you can't make the game, CUTV, as you covered, you can watch it live on CUTV Sports 1 on YouTube or the PSAC Digital Network, or if you prefer consuming your Vulcan athletics on traditional cable, just either go to our channels on Breezeline and Atlantic Broadband, or if you don't like to do that, if you like to consume your traditional cable but on an app, download our app at Cablecast and search CUTV. So can't believe I remember that all, Coach, but any final thoughts?
Yeah, I remember years ago I had a little portable TV that I would take on road trips with me, right? Like a little portable TV with the antennas, and now you've got, you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your tablet, you can watch it on your watch. It's crazy.
But again, the best way, Adamson Stadium at noon, get your ticket. All the lanternflies are gone. End the lanternfly season, so.
Absolutely.
But we'll see you all on Saturday. For Coach, I'm Gary Smith. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.